Hey there.
How you doing, Ken?
I'm okay. What's going on?
Everything's good. Everything's good.
We are at the bottom of Huff Vav Amud base when we start.
Off of the base. Get settled down. You're pulling up on my screen.
Been goofing up all these times lately. Let's see what happens tonight.
Should be okay.
Yeah, should be. See what's going on here. What is it? Oh, only 9:02.
Hello,
Hey, buddy. How are you, neighbor?
I'm good.
What's shaking
Okay.
today?
Nothing out in the desert.
Yeah, I can see that. Standard oil.
Yeah. Should I buy the stock?
No.
Okay. How about Truth Social?
Have fun. Did you see Dumb Money on Netflix? It's about the GameStop
Oh yeah,
frenzy.
yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah. I saw. Yeah. What's interesting is I was supposed to do a deal with one of those guys, the guy who lost all the money.
Plotnik.
Plotnik, yeah. Plotnik, yeah. He still has a few billion. I can't understand. He seems like a real dummy, you know?
I don't know. When they had that whole scene of him, like, Friday night with his family in Yarmulke, I was like, ooh, anti-Semitism in action.
He's a big supporter of Chabad in Miami.
Okay, who's not? Good. Well, as long as he didn't sell your stock short, you're good.
No.
Sounds like it
No,
put an end to his stock shorting days.
He was doing some kind of investment, and someone says, "Oh, you got to meet this guy, this, and this." And I said, "Well, let me look him up. The name sounds familiar." Though. Second thought, forget it. Hi, Ernie.
Hi. Okay, Chav Vav Amud Beis, 26b. Halokeach peros mechaver. You buy fruit and you find money in the fruit. So the Mishnah says you can keep it. Amr Shlakish lo shanu ela b'lokech v'natager. You bought from a merchant. And there's many people who come into the store, maybe drop money, and therefore that's why you can keep it. But lokech mi balabayis. Let's say some guy is selling fruit out of his backyard. Chayv lachzir. Then you have to return it to him. Tani Kamed Rav Nachman, Lo yishana b'lokech min hatager. That's if you went to a public market, but b'lokech min ba'al habayis chayav lahas. Amar le Rav Nachman, Ichi ba'al habayis ba'atzmo doshan. I understand that the ba'al habayis using, we're talking about, let's say, buying sheaves of grain. He didn't work with it's his workers. So it must be the workers lost this. Why would you give it back to the ba'al habayis? So ismay. So they erased this paraisa because they didn't think it was correct. No, don't erase it. To target must nisa. You have to explain the paraisa to me. Yeah, the people who worked in it, who worked on the Tvua, were his avodim, and anything kana eved, kana rabo. So that's why you return to the ba'al habayis. Then, afasim lahaita bichlal kol el. The Torah, when it says, v'chein ta'aseh lecha moro, v'chein ta'aseh lesimlato, that whatever you find, whether you find a donkey, you find a dress, you have to return it. Lama yatzos, why did you specify a simla? Lahaki shela, because you want to compare to it. Loimer lecha. Ma simla miyuchadesh sheyesh ba simon v'yesh latoivim. A shirt or a piece of clothing has a simon. It has somebody who owns it that is going to ask for it. So kol davar sheyesh bo simon v'yesh lo toivim chayv lachos. It gives us the general rule. Any item that has a simon and has an owner, so those things you have to declare. My bichlal kol eila. What does it mean among these things? Amar Rava. Bichlal, the pasuk said, "V'chein taseh lesimlato, v'chein taseh lechol avedat achicha shetovad mimenu umitzata, lo tuchal titalem." If your friend lost any of these items, don't close your eyes. Amar Rava, lama li because of Rachmana. Why did the Torah write shor, chamor, se, v'simla? Ox, donkey, sheep, and a dress. I mean, what do I need all these for? Tzrichi. We need it. Because of Rachmana simla, if the Torah would have only written a dress, havamina hanamili, be'edim de gufa, so edim themselves know that this garment belongs to such and such person, or simanim de gufa, or the item themselves has a unique siman in it. But aval chamor, be'edim de ukaf, v'simanim de ukaf, emalo madrin lay. Now, the chamor has a saddle on it. Now, let's say there are edim that recognize the saddle, or there's a siman in the saddle, but it's not in the chamor itself. So maybe I would think Ema lo madrinan lay. Because Rachmana chamor, that if you give a siman of the ukef, that's a good siman. Da'afilu chamor b'simoni ha'ukef. So the Gemara wants to know then, Shor said because of Rachmana lamali. Why then, what does Shor said teach me? Shor da'afilu l'gizas novo. Even the hair that grows on the tail, the sel l'gizosa, and a sheet for its wool. So lichta Rachmana shor, da'afilu l'gizas novo, v'kol shekein sel l'gizosa. I wouldn't need to write sheep. Elam Rabba, chamor debor l'Rab Yehuda. Rab Yehuda held that when we say shor, we're talking about the damages of a boar, according to Rabbi Yehuda. The said avail divrei hakol. So El Amar of Chamor de Bor Rabbi Yehuda. It said available the Rakol Kasha. Chamor we understand because that's Bor Kon Rabbi Yehuda, but Seh we don't have an answer as to why the Torah wrote Seh. Maybe the dung, that maybe by recognizing the dung, glolim afkir marful. The dung, everyone is mafkir. It's not it's not considered an asset. Maybe to teach me the general rule that you return lost object with a siman, the boilan. We asked the question, simonim deraiso drabonon. The fact that you return something with a siman, is that minat Torah or is it omi rabban? Because Rachmana said that filo b'simonim madrina v'simonim deraiso. Maybe the word seh comes to tell you that you return items with a siman, and the simonim is midaraisa. Amri, we say no. Meditani lahutana gabi simla. We originally learned siman from simla diktani. Simla miyuchedes sheyesh bo simonim v'yesh latoivim chayv la'achris. We said a dress is unique because it has a siman, has owners, and therefore you have to declare it. I've called over sheyesh bo simonim yir chayv la'achris. Shma mina deseh lo l'simonim u'da'asa. We didn't need seh for simonim. So again, we leave the sugya not really knowing why seh was written. Okay. Torah Rabbanim, Asher Tovad, Prat Laveda Shein B'Shava Pruta. Something that's not worth a Shava Pruta, because it's so low in value, it's not considered a lost object. But Rav Yehuda Omer Umitzasa Prat Laveda Shein B'Shava Prutim. Also, from a different word, that if it's not a Shavar Pruta, there's no need to return. Now, my binayu, the halacha is the same. Who cares where we learn it from? Amrabaya, mashmos dorshan eka binayu. In fact, there's no halachic difference, but where they learned it out from is different. Mar nafkilan maybe asher tovad, uma nafkilan umitzasa. So they learn it out from different words. Now, Lamanda Nafkale, Asher Tovad, the one who learns it out from Asher Tovad, Hai Umitzasam Avadle. What does he do with the Mitzasam word? Omabai Rav Noi. Sham Rav Noi, Umitzasa, the Asili Yadei, Mashma. We're talking about something that ends up in his hands. He has to find it. Ulaman de nafkale mitzasa hay asher tov my avitlei. Me boy lay karav yechon. Shram Rav Yechon mishum Rav Shimon ben Yochai. Minayin laveda sheshot v'nar shi muteres. If a river overflooded somebody's house and washed away goods, anybody could keep it. Shneimar kein tasel chol avedat zachicha asher tovad mimenu, that was lost from him and you found it. Misha Avdei Menu Umatzitza Kolada. That's referring to a lost object that was lost by regular people. Anybody could find it. Yatzazazu, which excludes a lost object from an overflowing river. Shiavudei Menu Ve'enumatzitza Kolada. You can't find most of the stuff that a river, it's underwater. Becomes Hefker. Ve'idich Hadrav Noimanole. The other mandarim, how does he learn the halacha of Rav Noi? Mi umitzasa. The vav, umitzasa. Ve'idich, had Rav Yechon ben Nole, nafkele mi menu. It means lost from him and not from everybody. Ve'idich, mi menu lo mashma, he doesn't learn anything from mi menu. Rava Omar, Nafkamina also could be something was Shava Pruta, then be depreciated. Manda Amr Masher Tovad, the focus is on what was lost. Ika, Because at the time it was lost, it was worth a pruta. Umanda amar umitzasa leka. Because when it was found, it's not worth a pruta. You wouldn't have to return. So lamanda masher tovad habeinin umitzasa, but he still, the pasuk still says you got to find it. It's got to be worth a pruta v'leka. Ella lepruta shehukri kibinai. The nafkamina could be, it was worth less than the shavar pruta. Then it became increased in value and was worth a pruta. The Amar Mar, mi umetzasa ika, when you found it, it was worth a pruta. Umando Amar Shetovat Leka was not worth a shavar pruta when it was lost. Umando Amar Tzasaha be'inon Ashetovat V'leka. You still need both qualities. Ella pruta shehukra v'huzla v'chazar v'hukra. The pruta increased in value, then decreased, then increased. Mando Amar Sher Toivad, Ike. It was worth a pruta when it was lost. And when it was found, it was worth a pruta. Lamando Amar Unsasa, be'inan the Ispashir Metzias B'Shas Aveda V'Achas Metziah. It means it's got to be worth a pruta the whole way. And since during the period of time it was not, according to the one who says umitzasa, you wouldn't have to return it. Iboilu, simonim d'oraisa d'rabbanan. Is the din of simin d'oraisa d'rabbanan? My nafkamina. And what would be a nafkamina? La do you get isha b'simonim? Do you return a divorce document with simonim? Yamret d'oraisa. If we say it's d'oraisa madrina. Because the siman helps. Yamad Rabbanon, Kiovid Rabbanon Takanta b'mamona. The Chachamim created this concept of siman by mammon. Aval b'Yisrael lav Rabbanon Takanta, but to say a siman when it comes to Isra v'Heter, like by a married woman, they didn't. You cannot be mafkia kiddushin with the possibility with just a siman. Midrabot Torshma. Afa Simlaita Bichlal Kol Elu V'Lama Yatzos. Simla was part of everything. Why was it focused on? Lahaki Shelev V'Lama Ma Simla Miyuchad Sheyesh Lo Simon V'Yesh Lo Toivim Chayv Lahakri is if it has a simon, it has an owner, you have to declare it. Av Kol Davar Sheyesh Lo Simon V'Yesh Lo Toivim Chayv Lahakri. Tana. No, so from this, the Gemara wanted to say maybe siman is min Torah. Or says no. Tana toivim mitzrachalei. The chiddush is not on siman; it's on the fact that it has owners. Simonim kedei nazba. The siman was just dragged along. The limud min Torah is regarding somebody who's claiming it. Toshma. Chamor b'simone ukiv. You can return a donkey if you know the siman in the saddle. So l'choretz doraisa. Ema los ela ede ukiv. You didn't have a siman in the ukiv, you had edim. So there's no right that the siman is doraisa. Toshma. It says v'hayat imcha. Adrosh achicha also. The lost object should stay with you until your friend demands it back. What? You should return it before he claims he lost something? So dorsheyu. So somebody comes claiming a lost object, you got to investigate him a little bit. Imram moyu or ain't a is he a trickster or not? Now, how do you check it? My love is simonim. Does he know the siman in the object? And therefore, siman is doraisa. Morse is low. Be'edim. We need edim to say that he's not a liar. Toshma. Ein meid nalodam shemeis. You don't give testimony that a man died to allow his wife to remarry. Ella al parts of aponim and machoitim. his face and his nose. Even though there are other simanim on his body. We see we don't rely on simanim. Amri, there's no proof from there. Because shebegufo, orur, oruch, or gutz. For example, is he tall? Is he short? It's not a siman moving. Or Kalov, his clothing. The chayshin l'sheila, maybe he borrowed clothing. That's why we don't rely on those other simanim. Now you just told me that you're worried when you see the clothing that maybe he borrowed it. So we said before that if somebody gives a siman in the saddle of a donkey, you can have the donkey returned. What do you mean? Maybe the guy borrowed the saddle. Amri, ukeflo shli inshi uchpa. Mishum demaskav lelechamre. A saddle is perfectly fit for a donkey. And you're not going to loan a saddle to another person that's going to damage the donkey. Ibaisema, that we said that when a person gives simanim on his kalim, and we said it wasn't a very bechivri v'sumki. These were white and black, white and red. Because they're not unique enough. Everyone wears those colored clothing. Elahad Tanya, Matzo, Kosher Bekisra, Ba'arnikiv Tabas. Let's say a person found a get tied to a wallet or a purse or to a ring. Or Shematzu Ben Kelev was found among his clothing. Afilus Man Meruba, kosher. The get is okay. Isa Gedayt Chashin L'She'ela, Himatzu Kosher Bekisra, my kosher, Nechash L'She'ela. It means if the get is tied to a wallet, how do you know he didn't borrow the wallet? People do not loan their wallet or their purse. It's like you gave your mazel to the other person. Is how the Rishonim explain. And Tabas Mishum de Mizayf, counterfeit. People would use the signet ring to sign their documents, so they didn't loan their rings. Now, this issue of whether siman is deraisa or rabbanon lema ketanoi. Let us say it was an earlier machlokas between tanoi. It says ein me'idin ala shuma. You're testifying whether somebody died. Now, a shuma is like a mole. That's not a good enough siman to allow the wife to remarry. Elazar ben Mavai, oinu me'idin ala shuma. He says you can rely on it. My love, ba'akamiflaki. The Tanakh Amasavar Simanim Drabana. So we don't rely on a shuma to be matir the isha. Elazar ben Mavai Savar Simanim Daraisa. Amarava, no. Kulam is Simanim Daraisa. We could learn that everybody holds a siman dura. Hacha shuma mitzvah ben gilo kamifli. Do other people of the same age have a And if so, Mar Savar shuma mitzvah ben gilo, and therefore it's not an accurate enough siman. Umar Savar shuma ena mitzvah ben gilo. Or you could learn a different way of the machlokes. Iboy semed kula alma shuma ena mitzvah ben gilo. If you have a mole, it's unique, but rather hacha whether simonim asun lishtanus lachar misa kamiflaki are these moles, will they change in their character after death? Mar Savar, the Chachamim who did not allow to use it to be matir the ishas is simonim asuli shtan slachar misa. It can change after death. Umar sover simonim ein asuli shtan slachar misa. No, the siman will remain. Everybody holds that a mole doesn't change. The simonim drabona. So how can you? What's the machlokas? Is a mole enough of a siman? Marsavar shuma siman muvaku. You can't make a mistake, and therefore you allow the woman to get married. Marsavar shuma siman muvaku. One holds it's not a siman muvak. One holds it is a siman muvak. Amaravim tim saloim simonim lav deraisa. If you end up learning that simonim are not deraisa, how do we return a lost object with a simon? You're stealing. You're taking an asset that belongs to somebody, giving it to somebody else. So the person who found the object is happy because he also will lose objects. He wants it returned to him. Just like if he loses something, it'll be returned to him with simon. I mean, what kind of svara is that? That he's doing himself a favor with money that doesn't belong to him. The one who lost the object is happy that he can give his simon and get his item back. Maybe yoda de edim leslie. He knows he doesn't have edim. Nobody else knows the simonim on this object. But I am the only one who knows it. I'm going to take it. So he's happy. He knows the simonim more than other people. We said that if you found 3 loan documents, you have Shimon borrowed $1,000 from Chaim, Shimon borrowed $1,000 from Moshe, Shimon borrowed $1,000 from Yisrael, right? You have one borrower, but you found 3 shtaros, so obviously they belong to the borrower. And if it was Shloisha Shalovim and Echad, you have Reuven borrowed from Moshe, and Shimon borrowed from Moshe, and Levi borrowed from Moshe. So you turn it to Moshe, Yachzer L'malveh. Now, the borrower is not happy that you're returning the start to the lender. Better that they shouldn't rely on the simonim like this. There is not simonim, svaru. Who else? If there are 3 documents that say that there was the same borrower, logic says to give it back to the borrower. The lender's not going to have it. Shema mina. Or 3 people borrowed from one person. Such a document will not be found by the borrowers. But it's not based on siman. It's based on logic. Okay, stop here.
Good, Ernie. Very nice.
Okay,
See you tomorrow. 8 p.m.
What time did we say?
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Very good.
Wednesday, yeah. Good night.
Good night.